Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Linda Peavy, and I am the founder of Lapov Consulting LLC, and I'm going to be the host for this evening as we talk about how to secure grants for women-owned businesses and women-led nonprofits. So as we welcome our guests into the room, hello, 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 everyone. Again, my name is Linda Peavy, and I'm the founder of Lapov Consulting LLC. And we're going to talk about how to get grants for women organizations and women-led nonprofits. And I am in Northeast Ohio, right outside of Cleveland, where it is a frosty 26 degrees and it has been snowing all day. So please, as you come in to the room, and we have Valerie Avington from PNW. Tell us what PNW is. And Valerie, because you were the first person in, you're going to get a special gift. You're going to get our resource called Grant Writing Success. And it provides a lot of different tools and materials that will help you not only secure grants, but really meet your funder. So congratulations, Valerie, for being the first one in. You are the winner of our gift that is literally worth $495. And so you're going to be getting that. So I'll be getting your information, but I want to welcome everybody else into the room. Hey, Loretta Wilson, Keisha, let us know where you're coming in from. Okay. I'm in frosty Cleveland, right outside of Cleveland. We've got, is it Shekinah from our neighbors in the South, Cincinnati, Ohio. Congratulations to the Bingos. We've got Alicia and Keisha. Valerie is from Pacific Northwest Seattle area. Yay, Valerie is our winner of our $495 value gift because she was the first one in. Yay. Who else do we have here? We've got Spring Hill, Florida in the house. Marietta, Georgia. Hey, Cleveland is representing. We've got Texas in the house. Hey, Shika she's a transplant to South Carolina. She was born in Cleveland. And we've got Lexington, Kentucky. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm going to be your host for this evening as we talk about how you get grants, how you secure the bag for your women-owned organization and your women-led nonprofit. And those of you who know me know that this is going to be a no-fluff zone. It's going to be full of information that will actually help you research and find and secure grants. Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to get started. Whatever you do, though, please stay for the full presentation because we're going to do a fabulous Q&A at the end. So don't go anywhere. And I have a special bonus surprise for you. So the first thing we're going to do is listen and see my about a 30-second TV commercial of mine. It's going to give you more information about me and what I do. And so we are going to get started, and then we're going to go over a little bit of housekeeping, and then we are off to the races. So let's get our video started. All right.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of Lapov Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We've worked with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how Lapov Consulting can help.
All right, so that's a little bit more about me and my company. We're going to get started with the presentation now. And what I want to say to you is that absolutely I want you to ask questions, but put them into the Q&A because we're going to have that really healthy Q&A at the end of the presentation. So don't go anywhere. So I want to welcome everybody into the room again. My name is Linda Peavy, owner of Lapov Consulting, and I'm going to be your hostess for this evening while we go through the presentation. And definitely at the end, don't go anywhere because I have a surprise for you. So I want to make sure everybody is in the right space. This is grant writing for women-owned businesses. This is the 7 p.m. version. And yes, I will live at noon as well. And I have another round of webinars next week for women-owned businesses and women-led nonprofits. And on Thursday, I will be doing a special webinar for Black-owned organizations to tell them about grants. So we are off to the races. Be sure now that you put your questions into the Q&A. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Ask questions as I go along, but I want you to buckle in because we're getting ready to get ready. And please know that everything is being recorded. So we are being recorded. So you will have access to this replay at the end. So if I'm going a little bit too fast because I have a lot to cover, don't worry about it. You'll get access. Okay. All right. So a little bit more about me. This is the 15th year of owning my own company, LaPav Consulting, and during that time, I have secured over $17 million in grant funding and business development. That's why they call me the Grants Queen. And I have done everything from literally writing the grant to writing the request for a proposal that you complete. I have developed scoring templates that companies use to judge the proposals. And of course, I create partnership building activities with organizations, and I provide grant writing workshops all over the country, including for Cozy and the Urban League and many other organizations. And I was the former executive director of a nonprofit. So all of you nonprofits, I know your journey. So let me know right now, are you a small business or are you a nonprofit? And this is what I'm finding that many for-profits are starting to create nonprofits, right? So we have for-profits creating nonprofits. We need you're both, right? Or maybe you're a nonprofit or for-profit. So put into the chat so I know that you're here with me. Are you a for-profit? Are you a nonprofit? Or maybe you are both. So we're going to see who is with us today. Yes, this is being recorded. So let me know if you are a for-profit or nonprofit. Wow, both. We have a lot of both. That's excellent. Small business. Yes, nonprofit. Excellent. Well, you'll need to know that this information is going to be important for both, right? Whether or not you're a nonprofit or a for-profit business, you will be helped this evening. So a little bit more about my journey, like how did I get to being able to secure over $17 million? And you know, right, that there is a difference between writing the grant and securing the bag, right? And I've been very blessed to be able to secure that amount of money for my clients. But it wasn't always that way, right? I used to be a publishing executive in Pennsylvania and spent over 10 years there. I got hurt and I had to come back home to Cleveland, literally came back home in a wheelchair because I couldn't stand. And it took me 2 years to recuperate. And after those 2 years, even though I had literally over 20 years of experience in marketing and even publishing, I couldn't find a job. Because when you think about it, like Cleveland is not like the publishing mecca, of the United States. So I couldn't find a job. I had to create my own. So let me know in the chat, those of you who have for-profits, was that a dream of yours? Like you always wanted to create and be an entrepreneur and create your own business? Or maybe like me, it was just out of necessity, right? I needed a roof over my head. I like to eat. So I had to create a business because literally I couldn't get hired. So let me know, was it just a dream of yours or was it, a heart's desire? Wakuna, beautiful name, her heart's desire. Excellent. And so many of you have dreams of being entrepreneur. And so that's what I did. And it's been 15 years. And I'll tell you, one of my first contract position was to be a contract executive director of a nonprofit, right? So I took the job. I was an ED. And literally, like the first week, I was called into the board of directors office and they told me that I had to write a grant to secure my position, right? So they didn't tell me this when I was interviewing, right? But all of a sudden, I had to be able to write a grant to secure the salary of the executive director, which, that was the organization. So literally, I had to save the organization. And I didn't know anything about a grant. I had never written a grant before in my life, but I learned. I learned, and I was able to write the grant to save my job. And we're women. I mean, how often, how many times have we as women, we've been called in to save a project, save a program, sometimes even save the entire company. And that's exactly what I had to do. But you know what? I learned that there is a connection between writing that grant application and getting free money. Ladies, you're going to hear this all evening, the word free, 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 free. I like to provide free information. And so there's this connection. You're able to write the grant and you get free money. All right. And so that's what I'm going to teach you tonight is how do you secure this free money, right? Because there is a deep connection there, right? And that's what I learned. It is a process. It's more than just being able to download a grant application, complete the information, and then submit it, right? It's about more than that. It's about a process. And so through this journey here, I learned that there is a process to getting the grant money, not just submitting an application, but getting the grant money. And that's what I'll teach you tonight. We're going to cover why this class is important, the 3 keys to funding, the philanthropic landscape, which is very interesting, grant basics. How do you prepare to write? This is a step that most companies and organizations ignore. What do you write in that grant application that's going to get you noticed? How do you write what is required? And then how do you attract the right funder, right? You want to attract organizations that literally want to give you money. And then we're going to talk just a little bit about bid proposals if we have time. And then we really want to talk about getting noticed. Like, how do you get noticed? There's a sea of competition out there. And then the grant research. So you've heard about these grants. How do you find the grants? And then I literally have a list of grant opportunities that you can apply to as a woman-owned business. So you don't want to go anywhere. And then I have a bonus surprise. And then we're going to do a lot of Q&A. Valerie says all the time, isn't that the truth? Like, we literally, as women, we are called in to save the organization. So why this class? Well, as women entrepreneurs, you know what, we need help with funding, but it doesn't always have to be loans. It shouldn't always be loans, right? We want free money. We want free grant money. But I can tell you that grant writing is a skill and it can be very costly. I'm a professional grant writer. And someone at my particular level, we charge anywhere between $100 to $200 per hour to write a grant. But I want to teach you these skills, right? So that you can place your organization in a position to be successful, right? Because I can tell you, nobody can tell your story better than you. And why pay a professional grant writer when you can do it yourself? I don't want you to be scared, right? You no longer have to write those 200-page dissertations for grant applications. Literally, a lot of the grants, especially for the for-profit organizations, are 3 to 4 pages. So you need to know the process, and that's what I'm going to teach you tonight. But 2 different occurrences completely changed the landscape of philanthropy. One was COVID-19. So during COVID-19, there were so many businesses that just went under. So many small businesses, they did not survive COVID-19. And you know that there are many, many, many women-owned businesses. And look, small businesses, we are the backbone of this country. And so foundations took notice. And then your major corporations, literally the Fortune 500 companies, took notice and they said, we have to do something about this. We have to help the small business. And so they started creating pools of cash, free grants for for-profit organizations, right? A couple of years ago, before COVID, it was unheard of for a for-profit to be able to get free grant money, right? It was typically reserved for nonprofits. But because of the pools of money that became available from foundations and major organizations, you have the money. The money is available now. You know, whenever you see those, especially the COVID-19 grants that are still available, you really want to talk about how COVID-19 affected your organization. Did you have to lay off workers? Did you have to close? So that's going to be important. Now, the second incident that changed philanthropy was the George Floyd incident, right? So after George Floyd was murdered, once again, foundations and major corporations saw what everybody else saw, and they said, we have to do something. We have to try to do something about racial injustice in this country. And so once again, they started to create these pools of money, free grant money from foundations, from major corporations, that can be used for organizations, including small businesses, that are addressing racial injustice, addressing what we call DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, or even socially conscious causes. So maybe your organization is addressing homelessness, or people who need funding because they literally don't have anywhere to live and they live below the poverty line, right? Even this huge issue that's going on with drug abuse. So any socially conscious causes, there's money for that. There's money for DEI, especially now. And I've been doing this for 15 years. And I tell you, I have never seen the amount of money that is available right now for small businesses and women-owned businesses. And it was mainly because of COVID-19 and the George Floyd incident, because these organizations, these foundations wanted somehow to address what was going on. And we've been a beneficiary of that. And certainly Black-owned organizations, women-owned organizations, the money is available. Okay. So now I just want to spend some time talking about grant basics. What you need to know about grants is that they are not paid back. Okay. This is free money. Now, I'm just speaking to the nonprofits right now. You need your 501c3. Okay. You need a 501c3 in order to get grant money. I don't want you to use a fiscal agent if at all possible. What is a fiscal agent? A fiscal agent is an organization that has their 501c3. So if you're trying to get grant money, that money will have to go to that fiscal agent and then come to you. And that is exactly why foundations don't want to work with fiscal agents, because if they're giving you grant money, they wanted to go directly to you. That's why you need to get your own 501c3 just for nonprofits now. And the good news is it used to take literally 3 to 6 months to get that 501c3. Now it's taking 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, so now is the time to get that 501c3. Okay. All right. So what is the 501c3? You might have heard about it, right? This is the tax-exempt charitable organization designation by the IRS. What does that mean? That means you don't have to pay taxes as a nonprofit, but also for any of your donors that give money to you, they can write that money off as a charitable donation. Okay, you can only get the 501c3 through the Internal Revenue Service. Let me tell you, I hear horror stories every day, and I'm going to talk about this all evening. I hear horror stories from people being scammed, people being solicited by organizations that say, I can get you your 501c3. Look, the 501c3 is a designation by the Internal Revenue Service, and only the IRS can provide you with that 501c3 status. Now, you can hire someone to help you through the process, but they can't get you the 501c3. That has to come through the IRS. So be alert and be aware. There are scammers out there. Thank you so much. Kelsey is my assistant tonight for putting that link in there. Now, I want everybody to look at this slide really carefully, because this is where we are with giving. And this giving is just from foundations, by the way. So look what happened in 2021. The giving increased, okay, to $90.88 billion. And guess what? In 2022, that number is going to go even higher. So let's look at this number for a second. $90.88 billion just from foundation giving. So too many people thought, oh, we're in a pandemic, giving is down, there's no grant money. No. Look at what we have here. Over $90 billion. Do we need all of that? Are we going to be greedy? No, we just need a little bit. We just need a little bit. Okay, so I want you to put into the chat, I just need a little bit. We're not trying to be greedy. Can you imagine what you would do with just a little bit of $90 billion, right? just a little bit of $90 billion. I want you to put that out into the universe, put into the chat. I just need a little bit, okay? You just need a little bit of the $90 billion to open up your organization, to grow and expand, to hire people, to stop bootstrapping, to stop asking for loans, right? The money is available. The money is available. And my job tonight is to show you how to get just a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. Sandra, just a little bit. We don't want to be greedy, right? We need just a little bit, Tiffany, just a little bit, Valerie, just a little bit, Chantel, Michelle, Erica. We're not trying to be greedy. Loretta, just need a little. We just need a little. Okay, Wakuna, we just need a little bit. All right. So what do? We're going to prepare to write that grant application. And what you need to know is that there are 5 basic writing skills, right? We're only going to be concerned with the 5th one, editing and rewriting. Why are we doing this? Because I don't want you submitting applications that are full of grammatical errors, okay? So we're just going to talk a little bit about this one tool that is phenomenal. It's called Grammarly. If you use Grammarly, give them a shout out into the chat. Grammarly is an editing software tool. It is, that word again, free, and it will make you a better writer. And so will this article. I'm a professional writer and editor, and I still use Grammarly, and I still go by this article. Improve writing skills dramatically by doing these 15 things. It will help you become a better writer. It will help you write your grant application better. And it is free. So make sure, I'm giving you tea all night. This is the first cup of tea, and this is the first homework too. So afterwards, I want you to download that article. It will help. Yes, Jody says she loves Grammarly. Valerie, yes. LaShondra, isn't it like unbelievable? It is fantastic, right? It's the GOAT. Marcy says Grammarly. Yes, absolutely. So if you don't know about Grammarly, you need to know about Grammarly. So download it after tonight. How else are we going to prepare to apply for these grants? Too many organizations, they get this wrong. They don't prepare. They look at the application, they complete it, and they fill it out, and they wonder why they got a rejection letter. You need to prepare. What are you going to do? You're going to get your documents in order, your EIN, your employer identification number. If you are a nonprofit, your 501c3. Now for you for-profits, depending upon what state you are in, you need a business license, right? You need that state certification saying that you're in good standing to do business in your state. Every state is different. In Ohio, where I am, it is required by law that we have to have a business license. So I want you to check, more homework. Go to your Secretary of State's website and find out whether or not you need to have a business license to do business in your state. I had a young lady on my webinar last year. She said, Linda, oh my gosh, I was applying for a grant. The competition was stiff. She said, I was the only one that got the grant money. Why? Because I could prove that I had my state certification, that I was in good standing to do business in my state. So more homework, your Secretary of State's website. I want you to go there after the webinar, and find out if your state requires that business license, because so many grants, they want to make sure that you're in good standing. What else do you need? You need your list of board members, your staff. Letters of support are very important. Why? Because they show the grantor, right, that you have supporting your community. So you could get letters from your church, your pastor, your community leaders, your vendors, and you want to ask them beforehand, before you start writing, so that you give them time to get their letters of support together. Next, audited financial statement. This isn't always required of every grant application, but if it is, this is something you need your CPA to provide. The current operating budget is crucial, right? We know we need that, but I'm talking to you startups now. You also need this budget. Why? Because you have got to know how much money is it going to cost, right? To start your organization, to run your organization, to operate your organization. You need to have some idea of how much money it's going to make. So when you create that budget, you start looking for gaps, right? So maybe you have money to open and get a building. Maybe you have money to hire staff, but you look at that budget and you say, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about marketing. I need money for marketing. That's where I need to apply for a grant. So that operating budget will not only help you know how much money it's going to take to flourish, right? But how much money you need to be asking for from a funder in grants. Now, also list any other funding sources, right? Any other grants that you have, any other sponsorships. It could even be in-kind donations. This is important because funders want to know that there are other organizations supporting you, and they don't really like to be the only one giving you grant money, because if they don't give you grant money in year 2, and you know grants are not guaranteed, they don't want the responsibility of thinking, wow, if we don't give her money in year 2 or year 3, she or he might go under. They don't want that level of responsibility. So make sure if you have any other donations or any other scholarships or sponsorships or money or grant funding, be sure that you list it on the application. And I'm speaking of funding sources now, not just money that you have in your budget, but who's giving you support. Okay. Now we're going to talk about what do you write? What do you write in the application? These are the components of a typical grant application. We're going to go through them all, and then we're going to go through them one by one. Your summary, mission, history, leadership, description of your organization, your statement of need or your target market, description of your program or your service project, right? Community partnerships. Next, your outputs, outcomes, impact. We're talking about results there. Your program project staff, your board members, your budget, and then sustainability. Now we're going to go through these one by one. Let's start with the summary abstract. What I want you to know is that even though it is the first thing that you see on that application, you always write it last. Always, always, always don't be fooled. It's the first thing you see. Why? Because it should include the most compelling components of that grant application. So you'll see it first, write it last. Your mission and vision statement. Now, all of you should have a mission statement, but do you have a vision statement? What's the difference? A mission, well, that's what you're doing now, your aims and your goals, but your vision is what you would like to have happen in the future. If you're implementing your mission, you will be asked for your vision statement. That's more homework, right? Let's go back to the mission. It is so important because you are going to align your mission to the mission of whatever funder or foundation that you're seeking, right? If you know that you're in K through 12 education, you're not going to be seeking a funder that focuses on resources for veterans, right? So make sure you're researching and knowing about the mission of the foundation or the funder that you are seeking. Next, history. Every organization has history. I get this question all the time. It's like, I'm new, I'm a startup, I don't have a history. Every organization has a history. What you want to do is think about what was the impetus for you starting the organization. And I use the example of the former principal who retired, who now has a tutoring organization, right? Well, she was in the school in grades 9 through 12, leading the educational program of those 9th through 12th graders for 20 years. And she could see that they were underperforming in math and reading consistently. So when she retired, she wanted to start a tutoring organization to help bring them up to grade level, right? Well, that was the impetus that she had for creating her tutoring organization. So think about why you created the organization that you have, or the startup or the nonprofit, and that is included in your history. Keep in mind, we're trying to set your application apart from what everybody else is doing. What is your leadership? That's your CEO, your COO, and it always includes the board because your board is a part of your leadership. Next, you're just describing your organization. Like, what do you have success with? What has been your success factors, your rate? Use numbers, right? Use statistics. And what is your track record of working with whatever your target population is, right? The principal, she has a track record of working with kids, right? From when she was in high school and working with the high school kids. And now she's a tutorer, right? And she has a tutoring organization. So think about your target population and what experience you have in working with them. Next, you want to talk about your statement of need, or in other words, what is the problem? And ladies, there is always a problem. When you write your grant application, you write it in such that whatever organization you have, whether it's service-based or product-based, you always write it as if you're resolving an issue or problem. Now, I like to use the example of the bakery. They're making cupcakes. And you may think, what problem are they solving? They're just making cupcakes and cookies and cakes. Well, she wants to locate in a downtown community, right? A downtown area that is an urban area of a major city. And all of the other businesses, they failed that's been in that location. So one problem that she's solving is that by her opening up, she's bringing some economic viability to that area as being a small business, right? Well, what about her customers? She's going to focus on the business community. And by her making, these fabulous desserts, she can help her clients who are local businesses impress their clientele, right, with these fabulous baked goods. Always think about what you're doing as solving a problem. Let's say you have a service organization and you're in career development and you're helping people who've either been fired, right, or they quit, and you're helping them to determine what their next move is. Well, what problem are you solving? That's a lot of talent, right? That's not in the job market, right? People need to know what their next step is. Do they want to be an entrepreneur? Do they want to work for another 9 to 5? So you're helping them determine their future, but you're also helping the economy by putting this talent back into the job market. So always think about what you're doing in terms of, I'm addressing an issue. And whatever that issue is, that is going to get you to your target funder, right? Because whatever issue that you have that you're solving, whatever that area of interest is that you have, you need to look to find out, is it the same area of interest of the funder that I'm seeking money from, right? And how do you find out? Like, how do you find out what these foundations want and who they want to support? Let me tell you, 90% of foundations don't have a website. I'll say that again, 90% of foundations don't have a website. So what do? Well, this is more tea for you. Check the 990 form. The 990 is the tax document that foundations have to submit to the IRS. It is a gold mine, right? Because not only is it going to give you the leadership of the foundation, but if you scroll to the back, it's going to give you a list of organizations that they have donated to. And you're going to look on that list and you're going to search for similar organizations as yours, right? So if you have like an equestrian program where you're using horses to help heal veterans, you're going to look at that list and see if there's any other animal related programs that they fund. And if there is, well, that's a possible match for me. Okay, so how do you get the 990? Well, there's that word again, free, free, free. Now you could pay some organizations for some type of membership for their website, which happens all the time. Or you could go to this particular website and you will have access free to any and every 990 that has been filed in recent years by organizations. projects.propublica.org/nonprofits. So you go to that site. The 990 is a gold mine. It will give you so much information about potential funders, okay? I'll talk about that later, Susan. What if you don't have a staff? You need to know that you can get grant money with no staff, with no paid staff. There are organizations that will give you grant money if you have an all volunteer staff. So don't let that stop you. All right, target population. Who are you helping? Don't say everybody. It can't be everybody. You have to look at who is best served by your organization, your service, or your product, right? You can't help everybody. Who is it that's best served by what you are providing? There's an old saying, there's riches and niches, okay? Who is your niche? Because that is how you find your perfect funder. You find a funder who has the same area of interest. And maybe it's demographics. Maybe your product is gender basis for women. Maybe it's based on ethnicity. Maybe you're helping African Americans. Maybe it's based on income, right? Maybe your product or your service is geared for those who live below the federal poverty line. Maybe it's based on age. Maybe you have a product for senior citizens. Or maybe you're targeting geographical areas. Maybe it's local. Maybe it's national. Whatever you do, the census.gov/quickfacts is a phenomenal free resource for you to research your demographics to know who's in the area, right? That young lady who's going to open up that bakery downtown, she wants to know the demographics of that area, right? And this will give you information like unemployment rate. For those of you who have daycare centers, it will tell you how many children are in the area under the age of 5. I mean, it is incredible. So don't sleep on it, and it's free, and the link is in the chat. We're talking about telling your story, right? Because at the end of the day, you really are selling your organization to this foundation or this company that you're seeking money from. But what I want you to remember is that I don't want you to make yourself the hero of your story. The hero of your story is your target population. Why? Because that is where the transformation takes place, right? If you're providing shelter for someone who is homeless, right? Once that person gets a roof over his or her head, they may have the opportunity to go back to school and get their GED, right? Or just go back to school to get a certificate, right? They may have the opportunity to maybe get a job. The transformation occurs in the people for whom you are helping. So you want to make sure you keep them at the core and the center of your story. That person that you're helping who was fired from their job, once you let them know that, yes, they can become an entrepreneur or there's other opportunities out there for them, that's where the transformation takes place. Or in those 9th through 12th graders who now have reading and math levels that are at great proficiency that will allow them to graduate from high school and maybe go on to college or find a trade or join the military, right? The transformation occurs in who you are helping. So make sure you keep them at the center of your grant narrative. At the end of the day, you need to tell your story the best. And for those of you who have applied for grants before, did you really do that? Did you make sure that you were telling your story and talk about how you've changed lives, right? And whatever outcomes you've been able to achieve? You have to appeal to emotions in these grant applications. You want to use real examples. You want to use testimonials, case studies. The best way to do that is through video, right? And it doesn't have to be expensive. You can literally ask your client to take a cell phone, and everybody knows I'm an Android girl, but if you have that iPhone, you can do the same thing. Literally have them talk for like a minute into the phone, and you put that video on your homepage. And something else you must know. Do not believe that you don't need a website. Okay, if you're going after grants, because I can assure you, I've seen this too many times over the past 15 years. One of the first places that foundations will do, they're going to go to your website. So if you need a website, I'd be happy to recommend you to my website developer. She's extremely reasonable. And she's been developing and designing websites for over 25 years. So just put your email address into the chat if you're interested, and I'll pass your name on to her. But video, don't sleep on video. I can't tell you how many times I've been in meetings with foundation directors, and we're telling the story about the organization and the client. And oh my gosh, when we show that 2-minute video of testimonials and transformations, like that is it. Like there's no reason if you have a website that you should not have testimonial videos, even if you're that bakery, right? They could be talking about how those are the best cupcakes they've ever tasted in their life. Okay. So be sure you put video on your home page. All right. So you have a decision to make. Are you going to ask for operating dollars or program project dollars, or maybe both? Right? What's the difference? Well, operating, you decide where to apply funds. Okay. It could be IT, your lease, marketing. All right. You decide if you're getting operating dollars, right? But let's say you need money for a particular service. Let's take that bakery. She wants to start a delivery service. So she's asking for grant funding just to provide resources for the delivery service, right? What you need to know is that you can apply for both. Right? You can apply for operating dollars from one foundation and then program project dollars from another foundation. And listen to me closely, because too many of you are not doing this. You can apply to multiple foundations for the same project or for the same program. All right. So let's say you want $20,000 to hire your 1099 contractors. You're going to apply for the $20,000 from Foundation A and Foundation B, from both of them. Okay. So let's say you get money from both, right? You get $20,000 from one and $20,000 from the other. What are you going to do with the extra money? What you're not going to do is give it back. Okay. That is not in our vocabulary. We do not return grant money. But what you will do, let's say you're going to spend a $20,000 to hire one person part-time, right, for 20 hours a week. Well, since you now have another $20,000, you have to apply it to the same program. Now you can hire that person for 40 hours a week, or maybe you can hire two people, right? So you should be applying to multiple foundations always for your program or your projects or your services or operating dollars, right? You have to do that. Now, when you're describing your project, just talk about why it's been successful, and maybe if it's something new, why it will be successful. And at the end of the day, how are you resolving a problem? Let's take that tutoring company, and she wants to use project-based learning to help those 9th through 12th graders increase their reading and math. Well, she has to do some research to make sure that project-based learning has been successful in increasing proficiencies among urban students in grades 9 through 12. So if it's something new that you're wanting to do your research and make sure, right, that you have solid information saying that, yes, there's proof that this will work. Now, community partnerships, this is critical. Please, you need to be in partnership or collaboration with some other organization in your community. This is so important because I'm finding, and I've seen this trend within, I would say maybe literally like the last 10 years, this is a big piece of your application because organizations want you to be working in conjunction with other organizations, right? But it doesn't mean that there has to be an exchange of money, right? Too many small businesses think, oh, I don't want to give up any of my revenues. You don't have to, right? It could be a partnership where you're bartering or where you're exchanging services, but it's important for you to be able to partner with some other entity in the community. I'll give you an example. I was working on a grant with a 3rd grade class, and the teacher wanted to teach them violin, right? And so we were going to work with the Cleveland Orchestra, like one of the best orchestras in the world. And they were coming in after school to teach those 3rd graders the violin, right? So if you're new, can you imagine being this small urban school and you're partnering with the Cleveland Orchestra? So especially if you're a new organization, seek out other older, well-respected organizations that you can somehow partner with in the community. This is so important, right? For so many different reasons, right? As to why you need to do this, because at the end of the day, you want that respected organization to vouch for you, right? It could be universities, other women's business organizations, Greek organizations, the Y, right? Let's take that bakery. Well, she's partnering with an event planner, right? And she's going to be recommending the event planner and having her flyers in her restaurant. And the event planner is going to be utilizing the services of the bakery, but also recommending and having the bakery's flyers at her establishment, right? So there's many ways you can work with other organizations, and that is absolutely what funders want to see. All right. Now we're looking at results. So you're asking for grant money. How do you indicate that, yes, you're going to be successful? You're going to do a little bit of forecasting. Do not be afraid of that word, because all we're talking about is future results. That's it. Future results, right? So some grant application will ask you for all three. Some will ask you for only one. Outputs. What are those? Immediate results. Okay, you give me the grant money. This is what's going to happen. Outcomes. That typically happens maybe 6 months down the road to a year down the road. Those are activities that happen as a result of your outputs. Next, you have impact. Those are future changes that take place. It could be a year from now to 2 years from now as a result of the outcomes, as a result of the outputs. They stack upon each other, the effectiveness, right? I'll give you an example. A daycare center said, I need $20,000 to open up. If you give me this $20,000, what is the output? We will open up immediately. We will serve 100 families and 250 children. We've got a great location. Now, once you give me the money and we open, 6 months down the road, we're going to grow our daycare capacity by 40% because we chose this great location. And we're going to add 24/7 services, right? Now, that's 6 months to a year. So because we grew and because we added 24/7 services, a year from now, right, this is our impact. Well, 25% of our families will experience less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7. Like who wouldn't want, who wouldn't want to do that? 65% of children demonstrate improved behavior because we have such a great educational program that we provide. And a year to 2 years later, down the road, we're going to expand to 2 locations, right? So you see how one really works upon the other's results. So output, outcome, impact. You may only be asked for one, or you may be asked for all 3. So there's all 3. Now, you will also be asked for your goals, and you will need to put SMART goals in your application, not just regular goals, SMART goals. What are they? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. I'll give you an example, right? We could have a goal that says, I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. Well, that's a massive, huge goal, right? I mean, wow, that's not what you want to put in the application. How do you change it to a SMART goal? You can say, based on your program, I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children under the age of 5 within a 5-year time frame, right? That is specific, right? Hispanic children, measurable, 5% in Cleveland under the age of 5 is attainable. You got 5 years to do it, relevant, and then timely, because there's an issue with Hispanic children living in poverty in Cleveland. What did I do there? Like, how did I change that from a goal to a SMART goal? What did I do? I added data and statistics, right? That's all I did. I added data and statistics, and that's what you're going to do to get your SMART goals. Now, how else are you going to evaluate your program? Well, you need assessment tools like surveys. I like SurveyMonkey, so the restaurant could give surveys, right, to find out whether or not the clients and the customers really like the delivery service that she has, right? Maybe you could provide surveys to people for whom you've helped in your service, right? Or that principal, she's going to utilize the standardized math and reading scores of those children before and after tutoring to find out whether or not she's been successful, right? So think about assessment tools, because you might be asked for those tools, right, in the grant application. Now, who are your staff, right? You need to talk about who's leading this program, and especially for you for-profits. It's probably been like forever since you updated that bio and that resume. So that's more homework for you, I know. So I want you to update your bio and resume, because if you're going to be asking for grants, they want an updated bio and they want an updated resume. And also, who are you placing in charge of a project? You need their bio and their resumes, because at the end of the day, oversight is key. This is all about accountability. So that funder or that foundation, they want to know, right, that you have the right people in the right place to lead whatever your project or your program is. Next, we're looking at budget. What is the budget? What do you want to do? You have to itemize your expenses, right? So if you're asking for $50,000, don't just put, I need $50,000 for executive director. No. Is that 6 months worth of pay? Is that a year payment? Is the person a 1099 employee, or is it a W-2 staff person? And in that case, you're going to need a benefit line, right? So be sure that you are specific and that you itemize those expenses. You can put the money part in the budget, but when you're talking about what that money is going to pay for, how often, the amount, that goes in the budget narrative, right? So the specifics go into the budget narrative. I need the executive director for, 6 months, and this pay is going to be a weekly fee that we pay that person, or a monthly stipend, right, for a certain amount of time. That information goes into the budget narrative. But again, this is how you set yourself apart. You want to make sure that you are literally aligning the money that you're asking for back to the goal of the program. Like, that's the key to setting your application apart, connected back to the goal of the program. Now, sustainability. This is a fun one, because you know that, first of all, grants are not guaranteed in year 2. So even if you get a grant in year 1, doesn't mean you're going to get the grant money in year 2, right? So how will that program survive beyond the grant money? You have to write this in the application. You're going to be asked about the sustainability, right? So I want you to think about something really quick and answer in the chat. That the high school got $20,000, right, for that tutoring program in year 1. They're going to have to write in an application. Well, if we don't get the money in year 2, we are still going to sustain the tutoring program. And this is how we're going to do it. So think about how a high school could write into a grant application ways in which they're going to come up with $20,000 in year 2. So think about this. This is a high school. They got the money for year 1, but they have to write in the application. This is how we're going to sustain our program in year 2. This is what we're going to do. So think about it. Yes, fundraisers, right? A car wash. Maybe they're going to say, we're going to sell school merchandise, right? What about a talent show or musical or maybe a sporting events, right? So any of those items, any of those activities, they could write into the grant application, right, Tony? Private donors, right, is another one. So you're writing into the application ways in which you are indicating that you are still going to be able to keep that program or that service viable and sustainable beyond the period that you're seeking for grant money, right? Erica, fundraisers, absolutely. Now, just really quickly, for any of you who are interested in providing bid proposals, you know that bid proposals come out, could be with your city, county, state, or federal. Only thing I want to say is that don't be focused on underbidding. Too many organizations, too many small businesses focus on underbidding. They think because I provide the lowest amount, I'm going to get the contract. It's not true. Because as a contractor, if I put out a bid saying that I need bids to build a fence, I have an idea of how much that fence is going to be. So if I know it's going to be $1 million and you put in a contract to say, oh, I'm only asking for $50,000, I know you're not qualified. I know you don't have the capacity. So don't focus so much on the money. Focus on your experience and what is going to set you apart from other organizations. Maybe your employees have built 1,000 fences, okay? Maybe you have that level of experience, right? Maybe you can say that, look, you've never been over a deadline. Like you've always come under a time deadline that you've been given. Focus on other attributes. Maybe you have state-of-the-art facilities, right? You want to focus on what makes you different, right? What I'm talking about now is really things that you do before you write a single syllable that is going to make the difference. While I take a sip, and at the end of the day, this is really about mindset, because I do not want you going into grant writing thinking, wow, I can't do this. Like I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to write a 200-page grant application. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, especially the for-profit grants, the ones I've seen are 3 and 4 pages, if that. There was one that closed a week ago. It was $25,000. They wanted a 500-word essay for you to talk about your organization, right? Tell a story about your organization. Even the nonprofit, even the $1 million federal grants, I've seen 2 this year, and each one was for over $1 million. And you know what? They were both 7 pages single space or 15-page double space, right? That was it. 7 pages for $1 million grant. So please don't think that you're writing dissertations. You're not anymore. At the end of the day, yes, you're going to have to do a little work, research the partners, right? Research the funders, but you know what? You know it's going to be worth it, because when you get this free grant money, you will no longer have to bootstrap and ask your family and your friends and everybody else for money to sustain your organization. You'll be able to open, you'll be able to grow, right? And some of you might really realize the dream that you have in entrepreneurship. The money is available. We saw that the money is available. And next slide, if you take nothing else away from this webinar, please hear me out. Whatever you do, meet with the funder first. Meet with the funder first, right? And so I've been in a meeting with a foundation leader where I've heard her say, look, if I get a slew of applications and that person has not called me, has not contacted me, has not emailed me, is probably going into the garbage. Now, all foundations aren't like that, right? Some foundations don't even want to meet with you. They will tell you, look, fill out the application and mail it in. But if you have the opportunity, do your due diligence. Literally, I mean, it's constant. I work with a client this month, literally set up a meeting with a funder that had never heard of his organization. Okay, had never heard of his organization. After 30 minutes, he walked away with $30,000. The same thing happened a month ago. Set up a meeting with a funder. And not only was the organization guaranteed $5,000 on the spot, but they were guaranteed another $30,000 over 3 years, right? So in that meeting, you're going to learn more about that grant than you will ever learn online. They're going to learn more about you than they will ever learn from your website. And I've seen this too often. If they like you, they will literally guide you as to what you put in an application so that you can get funded. So please meet with the funder first, right? Other dues, please, please, please consider time management. Ladies, if the timeline is 4:59 and that's the deadline, and you put in that application at 5 o'clock, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad day. So please, please, please adhere to the deadlines and address every question. If it doesn't pertain to you, just put NA. Don't leave it blank because the computer might think it's an incomplete application. And definitely seek your external reviews. Don't submit applications that are full of grammatical errors. Look, I love a good template, but please don't think that you're going to copy and paste from one grant to 20 other grant applications, because every grant application is different and you need to answer it accordingly. Now, if you are approaching especially a community foundation, right, they don't always give you the amount of money of the grant. They expect you to tell them what is it that you need right now. What you won't do is go in and ask for like $100,000 because you won't get it. They don't know that you're good fiscal stewards of that kind of money. I always recommend, if you're going in for the first time, ask for anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000, and then don't forget to edit. Now, remember I told you how important it was to meet with the funder. How do you meet with the funder? What do? You write a letter of introduction. That's what you do. Write the letter, describe your organization, describe your statement of need. What are you addressing? Who is your target population? How does that program that you have aligned to the mission and the program of the funder? You will not ask for money because you're just trying to get a meeting, right? You don't ask for money. You can get a reference to try to get the right person's name, or you could go to that 990 and get the person's name. But how do you get their email address? Because I do not want you to send information to like info@abcfoundation.org because it's going to go into the hemisphere. You need a real email address. And how do you get it? Well, I've been giving you tea. Ladies, this is the teapot. You're going to get getemail.io. Okay, it is like the best thing since sliced bread. It will literally give you the email address of just about anybody in the world that belongs to an institution or an organization or a company. I use it all the time, weekly, to find emails in Italy and Germany and many, many people that I need to connect with. And it is free for like maybe the first 10 to 15 emails. You get it free. And then it's about maybe $60 a month. I mean, for me, it's worth it. But look, if you don't have the money, use it to get targeted emails, right, that you can't get anywhere else. So getemail.io. Thank you so much for putting that into the chat, Kelsey. Now we come to the grant research. How do you find grants? How do you find the grants that are available? These are some of the portals that you can use to find the grant money, okay? Foundation Directory Online is the largest source of information in the U.S. on grants. Now, they give you the funder's name. They give you information about the funder, right? And they're about $50 a month. If you have a library near you, most libraries have this database for free. So you can go on their computers and gain free access to the Foundation Directory Online if you don't have the $50 a month. Instrumental.com is more pricey. They're about $200 a month. They give you the funder, plus they give you the available open grant and the 990 and a lot of other information, but they're pricey. Grants.gov, we know that's the single source of federal grants in the country. If you are a faith-based organization, you need to know about the Lilly Foundation because they're the largest funder of religious grants, right? If you have any type of educational programs, be sure to go on grantgopher.com. Last minute grants, I love Grant Watch. They're only about $20 a week. Grant Gopher is free. Lilly and grants.gov is free. Grant Watch about $20 a week. But I love them. Grant Station is about $200 a year, but oftentimes they will run a special where they give it free to nonprofits. So check out grantstation.com if you're a nonprofit and see if they're still running that free subscription. They have grant openings, really great grant openings for, especially if you're a for-profit. For minority-owned organizations, urbanawarenessusa.org, they're Black-owned, and have tons of information on grants for minority organizations. All right, so this is how you get the grant money. This is how you find it. This is just the front page of the homepage of Grant Watch. Again, they're about $20 a week. But you see in the middle, nonprofit, business, and what is that, individual? You check to see which one you are. And then you put in all this criteria, right? Do you want a federal grant? Do you want a foundation grant? Do you want a national organization? Do you want a local organization? And also, don't think that just because a foundation is not located in your city, that they don't serve your city. That's not true. You have many foundations that are located in every part of the country that still serve your city and your state. This is where you're going to do your grant research to find out who they are. You put in the target population. Who are you serving? Veterans, the homeless, K through 12, business people, women, you name it. What is the subject? Is it education? Is it business and industry? Financial services, religion, economic development? You put in all this information and you hit a button and up pops a list of available grants, right? Available grants through Grant Watch. So I like them. Now, for the small businesses that are with me, these are grant opportunities for you. HelloAlice.com, you have to sign up with them. They're the largest portal that provides available grants to small for-profit businesses for women. So if you are a small business, you need to subscribe to HelloAlice.com. Facebook has Black Creators Grants. Amber Grants for Women, they give away $10,000 every single month. National Association for the Self-Employed, they have grants. Now for women of color, these are, I call them the credit card grants, because MasterCard and Visa both have programs just for you that provide grant money. FedEx, if you have some type of health and wellness or sports related organization, you need to check out Women's Sports Foundation. Grants for Women is another portal that lists so many grants for women. Now, maybe you don't want grants, or maybe you want an angel investor. All right, 37angels.org is a list of female angel investors. All they do is invest in women-owned small businesses up to $150,000. That is a lot of money. The Tory Burch Foundation, I Fund Women, Cartier. And I always get questions about startups. Like, I'm just starting up. Is there money for me? InSile is just one organization. All they do is provide money to startups. So don't think just because you're starting up and you don't have years of experience that there's no grant money for you. There's grant money for you. Now, we have a few minutes left. I want you to put into the chat, when you think about banks and money, tell me what you think about. Just enter the chat. When you think about banks and money, what do you think about? Banks and money, banks and money. Yes, absolutely. Loans, credit, bad credit, good credit, high interest rates. Yes, loans. Well, let me tell you, forget about it, right? Well, no, I don't want you to forget about it. Valerie says stingy. You haven't been going to the right people, because let me assure you that banks are some of the largest providers of grant money, okay, in the country, not loans, grant funds. You have not been going to the right person. I don't want you to go to your branch manager, because they're going to probably try to sell you a loan and get you to buy a loan or some type of debt article, right? You need to seek out the vice president. Sometimes it's the vice president of community development or community investment or community affairs. Make sure it's a bank that has like a great footprint in your area that you can tell like is really concerned about your area. Seek out the vice president and ask for grant funding. Okay, you want to send that letter that I talked about to get a meeting with them and ask for grant funding, right? A young lady was on my webinar last year. She sought out a bank that had a great footprint in her area and applied for a $2.3 million grant. All right. Don't sleep on banks. They provide grant funding, right? So for the other women's organizations, these are just some of the organizations that you can apply for to be a membership, because we know networking is important. Doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, you need to network. Grants for Women, I mentioned that before. It's a list of grants and Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. And if you are a member of Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, please give yourself a shout out in the chat, because this is a Facebook group of over 650,000 women entrepreneurs. It is amazing. Over 650 women entrepreneurs is in this group. So you need to make sure if you're a women entrepreneur, you sign up. National Association of Women Business Owners. I'm a member of the Cleveland chapter, ABWA rather, Female Entrepreneur Association. And who knew that the SBA had an Office of Women's Business Ownership, right? Ladies Who Launch has a grant out right now. And I know the deadline is sometime at the end of March, but they have a grant right now that you should be applying for. And just like we have the Women's Business Centers of Ohio, a similar organization should be in your state because they're partially funded. I think they may be completely funded by the SBA. Excuse me, but they have so many different resources for you. So seek out which one is in your area. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to have a phenomenal Q&A. But I said before that I've been doing this for 15 years, right? And I knew at some point, after seeing exactly how much money is available to organizations, I wanted to be able to help you more than just writing individual grants. I wanted to help as many people as possible. So what did I do? I created a very easy to follow grant writing course, right? And I wanted to make sure that I included myself as the coach to help you, right? Because this is the process that I use to be able to secure $17 million in funds and development, because I need for you to have a step-by-step path to this funding. I am just so tired of hearing horror stories of people being taken advantage of, right? People saying to you, give me $50 and I'm going to write 3 grants for you. No. That is not what happens. I want you to be impactful and fulfill your mission without using your personal finances, without bootstrapping, and being in a community, a safe space, really a safe community where everybody's like-minded, everybody's trying to get funding. Our community is incredible, right? Because I want you to win $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 in grants to open, to grow, to pay your bills. This course will literally cut your research and writing time in half. Remember, I told you before, the 200-page grants are already gone. This will reduce your research and writing time even more, because so many of you are asking, and I see your questions in the chat, is there a grant for fill in the blanks? You will never have to ask that again, because you will know how to find out whether or not there's a grant for you. And there likely is, because there's a grant for just about any and everything. You just need to know how to find it. And I'm here to help you do that by giving you the right method, right? The right method of grant research, of literally finding funders who want to give you money, right? Especially as women business owners and women-led nonprofits. But you need to know how to approach the funders. And of course, I'm going to teach you how to write every part of the narrative, right? Every part. So you get 12 modules, 35 lessons. I know people definitely learn differently. So that's why I start every lesson off with a video. And some people say, well, is it just all videos? No, it starts with a video for visual learners, and then I have lessons. And you know what I've learned? People aren't intimidated by the lessons because you're talking about what you love. You're talking about your organization, right? You're answering questions about your organization. And then, of course, I give you planners. I give you these workbooks and these fun quizzes. And yes, I give you actual grant examples. Every grant in this course I wrote and I got money for. I won money for. So these are all actual grants, because if I'm trying to teach you how to write about your history, I'm going to show you a real example of how I wrote about a history so that you'll know. And I'm doing something I guarantee you nobody else is doing. I give you literally a list of, now is 450 funders, organizations that provide grant money. Literally 450, organizations, that provide grant money. And I'm not abandoning you, because I know that there are some instructors that when you buy their course, you never see them again. No, I have a private Facebook group, and if anybody, in all seriousness, if you're on this line and you are part of this private Facebook group, give yourself a shout out, because this Facebook group is amazing. Literally, people will come in there and ask for help. Can you look at this part of the grant? And I have so many people in there that oftentimes somebody will say, yes, I'll look at it for you. I'll give you feedback. It's amazing. And I'm in there a lot. Oh my gosh, I put so much stuff in the Facebook group. I put grants all the time. Anybody that's in the Facebook group, give yourself a shout out, because I'm always putting new grants in there. I put new information in there, and I give you 1 hour of group coaching, right? Every month, 1 hour of group coaching, because I want you to be successful. And you can come in there and ask me questions. Like if you were to hire me one-on-one, is $495 an hour. Come to the group coaching session, okay? And ask me those questions for free, right? How much are we talking about? The 12 modules and the 35 lessons are worth $3,549. I've had the course audited 3 times now. The videos are worth almost $600. The funders list is worth $500. And I give you like the entire workbook and these great planners. For those of you who write grants, you know how important grant trackers are, right? To keep you in alignment with your goals. But no, you're not paying the $5,000 that it's worth, that it's been audited to be valued at. The normal price is $997, and that's typically what you see. But guess what? It is Women's History Month. So this course is $497, and that's what it sells for. But you're not paying $497 right now, because you decided to be with me in this hour, which means you're serious, right? It means you're serious. You're trying to get money. And so because you decided to spend this time with me, I'm giving you the entire course, everything you just saw, the bonus coaching, right? The private Facebook group, one payment of $247. People literally ask me all the time, okay, Linda, I can make it. I can make the monthly payment of $247. It's not a monthly payment. It's just one payment, right? That's been reduced down from $497, which is reduced down from $997, right? Because you decided to spend this time with me, and I know you need the help. Now, I do something now that I rarely ever do. I actually give you the opportunity to make 2 different payments if you need to. So it's $137.50 over the course of 2 payments. Now, if you want to just make the one payment for $247, you must use this code MAR14P like Paul, because if not, you're going to be charged at $497. But if that happens, just let us know and we'll make the correction. But use the code. If you want to make the 2 monthly payments, you don't even need a code because it's already in there. So yes, it's over 50% off, but just like every good thing, is going to come to an end in 3 days, because the course is $497, right? And so you can get it for $247, the one payment, and that's it, unless you want to make the 2 payments. But yes, it will expire. The code expires, but guess what? The course never expires. Look, we are small businesses, okay? We have a lot on our plate. We have a lot to do. And so Kelsey is putting the link and the code information into the chat. At the end of this course, you're going to have your module written. Like, you're going to have a grant application, a template written. You're going to be ready to apply for grants, because literally I'm giving you 450 grant providers, right, to research. And I have them listed by subject area. So you're ready to go. Like, you're literally ready to go, because I take this seriously. I assume you take this seriously. And because you came on this webinar, you're ready to get grant money. Like, you're ready to get grant money. This is everything you get. As you can see, I've increased the amount of funders. You get the actual winning grants. Oh, the course is self-paced. Now, a lot of instructors drip their courses. So when you buy it, they give you a couple of lessons at a time. No, you get everything. Even if you pay the $137.50 right now, you get everything. It's online, it's self-paced. You go at your own pace, but I give you the support that you need, because I want you to get this money, right? Here's the code, MAR14P like Paul. Everything ends on Friday. Everything ends on Friday. You'll pay the $497 after Friday. So I want you to be able to get the course at this discount. So this is what you're going to see when you put in the link, the $497. If you want to pay the one payment, you hit purchase, and then you put in a code, or hit that little drop down arrow and you'll see the 2 times $137.50. Now, if you just want to pay the $247 where it says have a code to the left, you click that, you put in the code, it will take off $250 immediately, and you'll pay the $247. And it's for everything. Now, you'll see that little block there that says Ask the Expert. I told you before, is $495 per hour to meet with me one-on-one. But if you buy the Ask the Expert coaching at the same time that you buy the course, it'll only be $195. So you'll get a big discount. And I give that to everyone when they buy the course, so that if you need the extra help, I'm available for you. Now, the last thing I want to say is, why is it important that you do this now and you don't wait? One thing I do know is that the money is available now. One thing I don't know is that it'll be available 6 months from now. This is COVID-19 money, and a lot of it comes from the George Floyd incident. The money is available now. I don't know if it's going to be available later on. So I don't want you to wait, because I don't want you to be in the same position literally a week from now or 2 weeks from now, where you are seeing people that look like you and me get money, right? Other women's organizations, and you're thinking, how did she get a grant? Right? How did she get grant money? Right? How did this person get access to this funding? You won't have to ask that anymore, because you will have a professional, me, guiding you along the way to get this money. Okay, and something else I wanted to share with you that you need to know. There are organizations like Verizon, and I know Walmart, where they will tell you, you need to ask for this money as soon as possible, because when it's exhausted for the year, it's exhausted for the year. So they may not have any money in May or June or July. That's why you're in such a good spot to get the help you need right now, because the money is available now. And my next coaching session is Monday, March 27th at 7 p.m. Oh my gosh, the last one was incredible. My goal, I'm a woman of faith. My goal is to help you get this money. These are just some of the testimonials. Kelly, oh my gosh, Kelly last month was able to get a $75,000 grant for her colleague, but then she was able to get another grant for her, right? And I don't even have Pastor Chris on here. She was able to get grant money for her ministry program. Quintina, literally, I think she put this on here yesterday, your course in culture. And it is a culture, I have to say. It's not just a course, it's a culture. Has been an amazing experience. Thank you for creating this space. And I told you before, this is a safe space, because I am, it makes me crazy when I hear people are being scammed by people who claim they're grant writers, right? Yesterday, I got my first grant award letter, and she's using these resources. And Carla, says the course is very easy to understand, and it really, really is. I make this so simple for you. So I want you to be able to really just move yourself ahead, invest in yourself, invest in your dream, your desire, whether it's a nonprofit or for-profit. Be in a place where people can help you, right? Because I said before, I don't want you to do this by yourself because there's too many scammers out there. So be in a safe community where you can ask me questions, right? In the Facebook group, you can ask me questions in the group coaching sessions, and you can ask questions in the actual course that I answer. So there's no reason at all for you to feel intimidated whatsoever. I just put so much new information. It's really incredible. I put so much new information in the Facebook group. It is just absolutely awesome. So I am going to start the Q&A. So yes, it is one payment of $247. Yes, it's one payment of $247, and that's it. It's not a monthly payment. Literally, it's the one payment. So we're going to go through the Q&A. Can I make myself as the executive director? Yes, of course you can. Is that a nonprofit? Are you talking about a nonprofit? Yes, you can be the executive director of your nonprofit. There's no reason why you wouldn't be unless something else is going on. But a lot of people, a lot of the founders of the nonprofits, yes, they make themselves the executive director. There's nothing wrong with that. We just better from a business standpoint, hiring 1099 employees or W-2 employees, that is completely up to your financial structure and what you can afford. Preferably, it's better to have W-2 employees because you get so much credit. Like right now, there's a ERTC credit that's available for workers that have W-2s where people are getting tens of thousands of dollars back. But it depends on how your business is set up. If you can afford W-2 employees, get W-2 employees, and also you can make yourself a W-2 employee if you can afford it. What if you're in the trucking industry? So there are organizations in the trucking industry, and there are funds absolutely available to them. There are so many grants available to women-owned businesses. And something about the trucking industry, because I was just looking at, and I think it was Amber Grants for Women, where a young lady in the transportation industry just got a grant. I happen to know a young lady here in the Cleveland area that she's had her trucking industry for over 25 years. And I know she's applying for grants. So it makes you unique. And I think when it comes to foundations and funders, the more unique you are, the more interested they may be in your organization. So absolutely. Our board member, experts, and consultants typically paid members. So I'm not sure what you're asking. If you're asking if board members are typically paid, for smaller organizations, you have to be really, really careful about that. Most board members of nonprofits are not paid. Now you have board members of conglomerates, right, that are paid, but I think most of you are small organizations. So most nonprofits, I don't see that they have paid board members. Consultants, yes, if you're hiring a consultant, then you need to pay the consultant for sure, unless they just happen to want to volunteer. Are there any templates to show what some of these documents, like your financial statement or your current operating budget, is? Yes. So in the course, if you buy the course, I have budgets in there. Absolutely. I have budgets in there. Excuse me. I have 2 different operating budgets in the course. But if you buy, so this is why you need the course, right? If you buy the course, if there's anything that's not in a course that you have an interest in, you come into the Facebook group and you say, can anybody show me what a balance sheet looks like? or what an income statement look like. And like, I can give you examples of those so that you'll have them. Because this is what I was saying before. I give a lot of free extra information in the Facebook group when people come in and ask. So I want to make sure at the end of the day, you have what you need, but there are budgets in the course for sure. All right. So that was in the Q&A. So yes, you only have 3 days. You have 3 days. It includes everything. Yes, the Facebook group, the group coaching, the entire course. And what I want you to do right now is really, I want you to put, I'm ready to get grant money. I want you to put that into the chat, because sometimes you have to really speak these things into the universe. I'm a big believer of that. I want to get grant money. I want to see you put it into the chat, because I believe you came on this webinar for a reason, because you need grant money, right? You need grant money, and I can help you get the grant money with this course. Sims, I'm ready. That's what I want to see. Who else is ready? We've got 47 people left. Is Sims the only person that is ready to get grant money? I don't believe it. There we go. Patricia, Carmisha, Marcy, Chantel. I'm ready to get grant money. That's what I'm talking about. Loretta, Sandra, Shakina, or Shekinah, probably Shekinah. Yes, I'm ready to get grant money. That's Sophia. Yes, yes, yes. We're ready to get grant money. It's time. Like, please don't wait. Like, that's not what I want you to do, is wait, because I don't know if this money will be available like 4, 5, 6, 7 months from now. And I want you to have the coaching and the help, because I'm tired of people getting scammed with people saying they can do this and that for them. I hear it too often. How can I get grant money to start a business to help minority women? I get a copy or workbook. I am not on Facebook. So Facebook is just the group. That's just the group, right? This course is online. So you get everything online. Let me be clear about that. The course is online. So you will have access to your entire course. The Facebook group is just for when you want extra help, or I put a lot of information and a lot of extras into the Facebook group, but you can come to the group course and get extra information. The group course is through Zoom. So I hold my group course through Zoom. So Tony is ready, Brenda's ready, Penny, Tiffany, Wakuna, Shekinah. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's time to get grant money. Please don't wait and be in the same position. Please don't wait to be in the same position a week from now, saying that you've heard that there's grant money and you don't know how to get it, because, oh, the course is tax deductible. Yes, it is. It's tax deductible. So yes, Christine, you get everything. You get everything because everything's online. And remember, I talked to you about the workbook. When you go online into the course, you can download all of that information because it's copyrighted. I mean, I have a copyright on my work, so you can print out the information if you want. Absolutely. All right. So let me see if there are any other questions. So yes, so what I want you to do right now is put these 2 emails into your safe senders list, because you're going to get the replay from one of these 2 emails. And I want to make sure it does not go into your spam. So it's lpv@lapov.com and hello at grant writing for non-writers.com. Please put those 2 emails, go up to the top of the chat and put those 2 emails into your safe senders list. Yes, because I want to make sure you get the replay with all of this information. So everybody's ready to get grant money. I want to see you in the Facebook group. I want to see you in the next group coaching. And I want to see you in the course, right? Because when you get into the online portal, you can ask questions there. And I go in and I ask questions, but definitely you don't have to have a Facebook page. You don't have to have a Facebook account at all. Some people don't, right? You get the whole course online, right? And you can ask me questions through the group, right? Absolutely. All right. So let me make sure if there's any other questions before we wrap it up. All right. Oh, Shekinah, thank you so much. I am so glad you found this helpful. I just want to see if there are any other questions before okay, so don't worry that you didn't get the InSile. That's the grant for startups. You'll get the replay, so you can get that from the replay. All right, all right, all right. And so I have all of the emails. So those of you who want or need websites, I'll have your emails and I will pass your information on to the grant, my particular website developer. She does all of my, she puts all of the information about my grants and the work I do on my webinar. I'm sorry, my website. Oh, and just so you know, on Thursday, I'm giving a webinar for Black-owned organizations. So if you know anybody who might be interested, I'm going to put that link in the chat. So this link will allow people to sign up for the webinar for Black organizations. Is Thursday at noon and 7. I believe that's it. I believe we're done. I am hoping to see you in the Facebook group. I'm hoping to see you in the group chat because I hope you decided to make this investment literally for as little as $137.50. You can make that payment and get everything. And then next month you make that payment again, or you can just pay the $247. It is tax deductible. Please move yourself forward. The money is available and you don't have to be scared at all when it comes to writing these grants because they're so small in terms of the page count compared to what they used to be. It's amazing. With some of these grant options for profit, you feel like a small fish in a big pond. Well, let me just say this. People are getting grants every day. My students are getting grants all the time, and they're all small organizations. So you know what, Tiffany, you know what the difference is going to be now? You will know how to write it. If you buy my course, you will know how to write so that you set yourself apart, right? So it doesn't matter if you're small. There literally are foundations that only give to small organizations. And you know what I'm beginning to see? I'm beginning to see grants that will stipulate that you can't make over a certain amount of money. I've seen that so often, like you can't make over $250,000 or you can't make over $500,000. So these organizations are really making sure that they gear this money to small organizations. And I told you before that there are organizations that will give money to for-profits and nonprofits with no W-2 employees, no 1099 employees, all volunteer staff. So actually, I'm going to put one. I want you to look this up. It's called the Amarillo Foundation. I think they're headquartered in Texas. They give to organizations with all volunteer, right? All volunteer staff or that are really, really small. So please don't think because you don't have staff, you can't get grant money. That's just not true. But yes, Shekinah, not afraid, ready and open to receive some of the $90 billion. I mean, that's it. That's it. And what you will find out is that I'm a huge resource, right? First of all, I've been in business. This is the 15th year of owning my own company. But I've been in the grant world for a long time and I can just let me be a resource to you, right? So if you come into the Facebook group and you ask questions, I will answer them. You can always do a one-on-one. Now we do provide grant reviews, right? We provide customized grant research for a fee. So if you're interested, you can send me an email. But for example, there was a young lady that had a product and she invented the product. She had a patent. This was literally 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was doing a webinar and she said, she joined, she bought the course and she was asking me about what she could do, right? I introduced her to my personal friend who is called the QVC Queen, because she has so many products on QVC and HSN, and she's a consultant to Shark Tank. And I made the email introduction with this young lady. So utilize me as a resource, right? Utilize me as a resource. This is about community, right? It's really important. I don't want you to be kind of swimming in this alone, because there are literally sharks out there. I'm telling you, I'm so tired of hearing these horror stories. Incredible. Oh, that's such a good question. Shavondaline, oh, I probably butchered that. What if your organization makes or receives more money than the $250,000 limit? So that's just one grant, though, right? That's just one organization. But the issue is when you applied for the grant, you adhere to the guidelines, because the grant isn't guaranteed. So it's not an issue, because it's all about adhering. She was asking, what if your organization makes or receives more than a $250,000 limit after the grant is awarded? That's okay, because when you apply for the grant, you adhere to the grant guidelines. So absolutely. Right. Shekinah, yes. Utilize me. Don't use me. Utilize me. Right. Absolutely. I did not butcher it. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to wrap things up. I don't see any more questions. I really hope you move forward. I would love to see you do this for you. Do this for you, because I see some phenomenal ideas, some phenomenal organizations on here. I know you could be getting grant money. There's just some phenomenal groups and organizations on here. It's like amazing. So thank you so much. I'm going to wrap things up. Make sure you have those 2 emails in your safe senders list so that you get the replay. And I'm just asking you one last time, do this for you. Move the needle. Whatever you do, whether you buy this course or not, move yourself forward. Don't be in the same place a month from now. I want you to do something to move your organization forward. And hopefully you'll let me help you do that. So hopefully I'll see you in the Facebook group, or Monday, March 27th for the next group session. I will be there, and hopefully you will be there with all of your questions. So thank you so much for joining, and you've been wonderful. And I truly hope I have been helpful, and I want you to have a blessed and a safe evening. So thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.